Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Revolution broadcast. I'm your hostess with the mostess for this precious and most divine sacred moment in time, Julie G. Vegas, in studio with my beloved
Second Sight.
Yo, yo, yo! We are back. So good to be here. So today, we're going to give you a very exciting episode. Very exciting episode. And you will see it's super exciting because Adam's got his tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, we did have a conspiracy party here last night, and it was a lot of fun. As you saw the intro, I've been working on some lighting, because that's what we do. We do shows and different things, and I just have a bunch of DMX concert lighting in my living room.
Yeah, and so we like to put it to good use.
I'm setting it up for a show, and I got to test it out, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for everybody to come and party. People were dancing here last night after the conspiracy party. We were rocking the dance floor a little bit.
Rinsing out to some drum and bass. Yeah. You know how it is. It's good. So coming up on today's episode, we are going to give you a quick little life update because last week was a week, man. I don't know if it was a week for you, but it was a week for us. And then we're also going to touch on, and this is in no particular order, but we're going to touch on the Queen of Canada. The Queen of Canada, and believe it or not, it's not me. I was shocked, just as shocked as you probably are, being like, what? She ain't the Queen. No, I'm not the Queen. But there is apparently a Queen of Canada. I did not even know this until I logged into the computer the other day and I saw like a little ad being like, the Queen of Canada has been...
I heard about this.
Yeah, has been arrested. And I was like, okay, wow. So anyways, we're going to touch on that. We're also going to touch on really quickly a little blip about UNDRIP because it does kind of tie into the Queen of Canada and it ties into sovereignty and it ties into everything that we find to be deeply motivational and meaningful on this earth. And you're probably not going to expect what we're going to say, or maybe you are because you're used to us now. We're also going to do a little bit of a show and tell, as per usual, even though it's only been like 2 episodes. And what else are we going to talk about?
Just a blip on the broken justice system.
Mm-hmm. Broken justice system. And we are going to kind of just see what else happens as things unfold because this is the Creative Revolution, baby. And we are created, therefore we create, and everything's happening in real time.
And you didn't mention my hat. I thought you were going to...
I did. I mentioned your hat right away. I said, look at Adam's hat. He's wearing his tinfoil hat.
Well, but you didn't mention that the reason why I have it is because we all made tinfoil hats at the conspiracy party. We had a tinfoil hat making station.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Yes, we did. We had a tinfoil hat making station. So...
And our brain waves were protected. You would believe how clear my thoughts are.
You know what? Honestly... It was really something. I feel like because of the tinfoil hats, last night we were so divinely connected. There happened to be 4 presentations that took place last night, and all 4 of them were woven together. None of us knew. Like, everybody just showed up with their presentation, and they all had layers of overlap in them, which I thought was very interesting. And it brought me a lot of joy because I was like, you know what? We are surrounded by like-minded people. And that is a blessing. Like, honestly, really and truly, we all have our own little idiosyncrasies and little ways in which we're not fully on the same page. And this is even true with both Adam and I. Like, we are on the same page for the most part, but, you know, we hold different views slightly in regards to this, that, or the other thing. And that's what makes life beautiful. But last night it was pretty cool to just see how we were all like relatively on the same page with what we brought to the table. It was fun.
Yeah, we had about like 10 to 15 people in here, and everybody kind of believed in similar things that we believed in.
Yeah,
which
except
is awesome.
for Brianne, and her heart was broken. So one of our friends talked about dinosaurs and how dinosaurs are not real, and Brianne was like, what? Dinosaurs aren't real. And so, like, at the end of the night, her and I were just chatting in the kitchen around the food at the consumption station, and she was like, I can't believe that dinosaurs aren't real. But at the same time, Brianne is such a beautiful woman because she's just like, it doesn't matter though. Like, this doesn't matter because every single day I'm finding out something else not real with reality, and I just let it slide. Okay, dinosaurs aren't real. Doesn't mean I have to stop liking dinosaurs. And that was one of the things that was brought up in the conversation or in the presentation, is that dinosaurs are a multi-million-dollar industry in regards to toys and logos and stuff like that. Like dinosaur stuff makes a ton of money, and it's going to continue to make a ton of money because whether they're real or not, they're kind of cool.
And I'm not convinced that there wasn't large animals and large lizards and some truth to these large bones, but I think that the overall message, what this whole dinosaur story, the prehistoric period, and how they're just piecing all these different animals together, like the T-Rex and pterodactyls and all this, I think it's all become fabricated to support an industry and a narrative.
Yes, a narrative. That's the biggest thing, because something that we brought up at the party, which was so fun. Oh my gosh, you guys, I know we're just diving right into it. So at the party, someone would give the presentation, and then we just opened up the floor for conversation. It was so fun. It was so fun. But one of the things to think about, and that was brought up, is that like there is a narrative to obviously cover up the hidden history, which I don't think we're going to get into that today, but we've gotten into it before. And I mean, there are countless other channels that get into it all the time.
And I might do a presentation on that later on video, because that's what my presentation was on last night, hidden history, and people loved it. They came up after and said, wow, that was amazing. And I kind of just threw it together. So I might properly plan it out and present it to YouTube.
Absolutely, you should do that 100 million trillion %. But the thing is that we all know that there are the fallen angels, and that they mated with women down here on Earth, and they created freaking Nephilim. They created giants. And so also something to consider that I'm thinking about right now is in that time period, when they were messing with like the DNA and the genetics and everything, they were also creating like hybrid animals and stuff like that too. So it's not only, giant bones and stuff that they're unearthing right now and then writing them off as dinosaur bones, but there are likely freakish animals that are super big. And then another woman brought up the concept and the fact of dragons.
Yeah, that's
dragon bones, big ass dragon bones.
I think that I see. I don't know if it was fake or not, but like in China somewhere, they had. It looked real to me, but it could have been completely.
But the
fake.
internet is full of.
Yeah, but like full on dragon skeleton in China, and people are like getting their pictures.
Well, and they love dragons.
It,
like China is big into dragon stuff, like 100%. So, anyways, all that to say, dinosaurs aren't real. And conspiracy night is baller. If you haven't had a conspiracy night, this is your sign to have a conspiracy night. The reason why we put it on is because I had seen it popping up on Instagram for months, and I was like, frig, man, we got to do this, because we have enough conspiracy-minded friends that if we do this, it's going to be so much fun. And I was not wrong. The last night did not disappoint. It was super fun.
Yeah, we had a great party, and since we're on the life update, we just want to share just how after the last episode, there's just so many problems, and we felt so down about life for the past couple of weeks, like really, really low, just feeling alone, like no friends, no support, and all this stuff. And then we had this awesome party, and we feel great. But after we recorded the last episode, normally like within a couple days, well, normally we've only done a few episodes, but it seemed to be quite easy the first time to put it in DaVinci, which is the editing program, and export it and upload it to YouTube and everything. But everything was going wrong. Like Julie's laptop was just doing weird things, and we ended up editing on my main workstation, and even that had problems. Like my mouse the whole time, and it wasn't just with the video, it's like all of technology just hasn't been working properly, like weird clicking things and menus opening up. I'm like, why is it doing this? I'm learning a new DMX program to program my lights, and it's just
problem after problem
after problem, and it's just been hectic without the technology and all those things. It took us the whole week to slowly get that last episode out.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy, because after the first episode, it had been a while since we had been doing video editing. And so I was like really inspired and encouraged, because it was quite easy. I was like, oh yeah, man, just like riding a bike. I'm back in the saddle. I know how to edit. This is fun. And I was getting all sorts of creative ideas and whatever. So I was really looking forward to editing the second episode. And then it was hard, and it was very discouraging, and I was getting mad. Although when I get mad, I don't I don't let it out. I don't swear. I don't curse my surroundings when I'm getting mad. But I was getting mad. And whatever. Long story short, we made it happen. We're back here with episode 3, and we're going to edit it, whether it's easy or hard, because that's what we do for you guys. We do this for you guys. Because, actually we also do it for ourselves as a form of self-expression. But yeah, so last week was intense, you guys. I turned 41. I know I don't look it, but I am. I turned 41 on Monday, and I had a bit of a existential crisis. I don't know if this ever happens to you when it's your birthday and you kind of just like are faced with the reality of the fact that you're getting older and you're perhaps not exactly where you maybe thought you would be, or maybe not exactly happy with your current state of being. Not that my current state of being is bad or anything like that. Like overall, I am pretty happy and satisfied with like who I am and where I am and all these things. But I think because I'm reading the Old Testament, and because of that, my lens that I'm looking through at the entire world has got that Old Testament lens on it. It's just really kind of making me sad about humanity and what we are doing collectively as a species on Earth, and tying that into time, and tying that into the fact that we only have so much of it here on Earth, and that we've just been duped into using our time as a thing to trade for money that then we spend to continue to fuel the system that enslaves us. So, I just had like this existential situation, and I was really, low all week long, and wanted to maybe even kind of cancel the conspiracy party, because I was like, frig it, man. Like, I don't want to hold space. Like, I'm not really in this frame of mind. And then, lo and behold, a friend of ours messages us, and she says, hey, coming to the party on Saturday, wondering if you wanted us to drop off our sauna tonight for the party. I was like, praise the Lord. God, you are so good, and you know me, and you know what I freaking need, and I need to sit in a sauna alone and sweat and cry. And that's what happened. They dropped off their sauna, and it is the most beautiful sauna. It's called Golden Saunas. If you live in La Pêche area, even Outaouais, I'm sure, they rent their saunas out for $250. I'll put a little link in the description here. Golden Saunas. It is so nice. They drop it off. They load it up with wood. So all you have to do is find a nice spot to park it, bring a friggin' lighter, and get in there and start sweating. So anyways, that's how my week ended. It ended with a really nice sauna moment. And it really kind of recalibrated me and brought me back into this space where I was like, no, there's so much to be grateful for. There's so much to just be happy about, and kind of just reminded me that even in the midst of feelings, God is good, and he always is orchestrating all things to work together for my good, because I love him.
Today, it's taking me a little while to organize my thoughts, and hopefully, like a train, will slowly start moving and it'll start coming. But we are here, and we're talking about.
we are here. We are here.
We are here, and we're talking.
That is what we're doing.
We were talking about the life difficulties, and I just had a thought about. Before, about sharing just how through these difficulties, like everybody has these crazy times where the pressure's on, and it's almost like a cycle. It's like a birthing cycle in their times of testing. And whether you're a believer or unbeliever, I believe we all go through these. And I think that the Creator still tests us. And I think that if we give in to our flesh and choose to, either swear or give up is one of the biggest things. I think that's what the enemy of our soul wants us to do, is give up and not continue on our life path. And that's the reason why we are allowed to be tested, because we will grow, and hopefully most people will continue on those things. So we were definitely tested the past couple of weeks, and we're always in a lifelong test, in a big long season of testing, because we haven't fully seen the creative revolution come to fruition in our big hopes and dreams and visions, right? But I feel that for the believers, if there's any believers that listen, it's like God is going to continue to test your faith in these things to see if you will hold fast to Him. Because we've been talking a lot about the monk life and being inspired by monks and just men of faith from the past and everything. And they lived much different lives. And I get inspired by these, and I believe that everything around us and the system around us and the constant consuming of content and Babylon and everything distracts us from that simple godly life. And that's truly what we desire, and what we keep striving for, is to live a life more like that. And I believe when we live life more like that and overcome these trials, that we grow. So to encourage people that it's going to happen no matter what, if you're believer or unbeliever, but to press through those things and try not to give in to your flesh. Like, I know I let lots of cursing and even F-bombs out over the technology, and that just happens. I go through these cycles where I think I'm in control and doing really good, and then I'm just tested really hard. It's
God's like, let's really see. Let's just push a little harder right here. No, you didn't do it. You didn't do it.
So
but it's coming back tomorrow. That's the thing. It was so funny because this week has been, but this is the thing I also said to Adam. I was like, Adam, you also are doing the most difficult stuff. Like, dealing with technology is the worst. It is the hardest because it's technology and it's always going to friggin' glitch. And Adam's like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of brand new lights that don't work with the current system that I have. And I'm just going to learn a whole new complicated friggin' system. I'm just like, I would literally never do this. Like, in the scope of like what I'm willing to do, knowing that there is like a level of difficulty, I try to like keep it in the middle. If something is even maybe like one tick over towards the difficulty, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I do many difficult things. Like, the video is all one thing, and it's complicated. The lighting is all complicated. Music production,
so complicated.
The creative revolution as a whole is
This is a complicated man right here. He loves complicated things. It's funny because you just like put yourself into these tough situations where it's like, okay, well, let's just see how you're going to do under pressure. And you just like, I'm just going to this frigging pressure tank willingly. I'm just going to go in here and knowing that it's going to be hard, and I'm just going to frigging explode is basically what you do.
It's like I'm believing for an overcoming mindset, because I believe that it's a lot of my perspective is what is causing me a lot of this trauma that I go through when I go through these trials. Because if I just learned patience truly as a virtue, when these things didn't work and I had to spend extra time, like an hour, to figure out one thing that should have taken 5 minutes, I could be at peace at that, and that would be a fruit of the Spirit, which I'm hoping to attain. So I'm believing that like I can live a much better life by going through these things and overcoming.
Yes, amen.
So
good.
I wanted to flow into just generally the creative revolution. The reason why we're doing this, because Julie was talking about how people are cutting up videos of their cats in this creative way, and it's awesome.
It's
and everything.
Really cool.
And I'm just like, do we need more videos just to consume? And then she had a valid point. It's like, well, it is a creative expression, and we should have the freedom to express and have people enjoy it. But on the other side, it's like, this is what's destroying the world. It's this constant consuming of content. And there's so many people that are just making content just so people can consume it and they could get likes and get subscribers and get paid. And a lot of it is just retarded stuff out there. I just can't believe a lot. You're not being creative. You're just adding to the cesspool of what's on the internet.
Yeah, a lot of repetitive content I noticed out there. Like, a lot of people just doing the exact same thing.
It's like true art, great. Just more content for content's sake. Like this, no, there's other ways to express ourselves. The big thing is that we need to be interacting not through the technology and more in real life with each other. And, I feel guilty often just making these videos putting them online, and I see the shorts I shared last time, that I see my own shorts come up of myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on the internet like this. Just, I feel like I'm
prostituting himself.
Yeah, but you know what? I believe in the message of the creative revolution, and I believe that as people tune in more and spread the broadcast, it has many aspects, and by tuning in, you will eventually learn all of the creative revolution. And I believe that it will change lives, and I believe that it will eventually catch on. And the end of the consuming of the creative revolution, if people truly join it and get the message, you will unsubscribe from this, and you will have real community, and will be cutting off everything that this world is as much as possible, because where we're going is, as a society as a whole, is very dangerous for our souls.
Yes.
And for life in general. Like, life is being destroyed, the very fabric of life, and that's why we are doing this, because it is a way to get the message out there. It is a way to connect with everybody, and slowly and surely we will get it all out there.
Yeah, so basically, as much as we pump this stuff, we are pumping this stuff onto the internet. Equally, on the flip side of that, we open up our home and we hold space for real life interactions. And so the reality is that if you're tuning into this, I want to cordially invite you on April 3rd to the Black Sheep in Wakefield to come and dance with us. Second Sight right here is going to be DJing from 10 to 11. He's going to be doing, oh my gosh, the set that he played last night is a precursor to what is going to be thrown down on the 3rd. So come on out. Like, if you're in the area, come on out, meet us in real life. A bunch of our friends are also going to be coming out, and just kind of catch a vibe of what the creative revolution is really all about. Because the reality is what Adam is talking about is, like, you can only really consume so much before you get fat and crippled. You got to get your feet up on the dance floor. You got to.
Yeah, so before we just fully get into the Queen of Canada, just wanted to make a mention that a lot of people in these movements, like this Queen of Canada, started her own little culty movement, and specifically the sovereignty movements as well. It's like a lot of people are claiming to have like answers. There was the whole Life Force world, which is now separate than Life Force Canada, and there's all these warning signs, which we'll talk about. But these people claim to have answers, and they don't really have answers. And you can see they end up in all these situations, and I truly believe we do have answers, and like life answers for your soul with God and yourself and your family, and also for the whole world. It's like a pretty big statement to say, but I've sat down and thought for many, many hours. I have many mind maps, and I boiled down a very simple strategy that I will eventually share. And I don't even think I might not even share it here. I might be just in the private for the people that kind of get it. Yeah. But very simple things that could fix every problem on the earth. But the problem is that not everybody, most people will not listen. And that's the one thing where people get all excited about, them and their movement, thinking that the whole world's going to listen to them. No, it's not. I know that the whole world's not going to listen to me and the message that God's given me for everybody, but maybe some will. And I'll share a little bit about that when we talk about the Queen of Canada, because, I believe that the answer is simple, and it's about fixing yourself and your relationship with God. It's all about relationships. I'm giving you some little core nuggets here of the creative revolution and how you can fix the world. First, fix your internal world, your relationship with yourself and your soul and with the Creator. And then fix your relationships with your family, with your wife and your kids, if possible. And then you also work on your interrelationships with everybody else. And if people gathered in like minds, if you truly want to do something about the world, you have to meet in real person.
Yes.
You can't just meet on Zoom meetings and learn stuff. It's like enough with the learning. You need action, and the correct action. And that is just meeting together and getting to know and trust people. If you have trusted community, you could do so much.
That's good.
So that's like the foundation of the creative revolution, is creating healthy relationships and trusted community, and then taking specific actions. And a lot of that based in sovereignty and common law. There's very basic principles. If everybody in the world followed that path and stopped listening to the beast, stop listening to the media, stop listening to all the lies and the propaganda, and listening to all the stupid things the government tells you to do in these critical situations, the psyops and everything, if you're able to do that, the world would change. It's like we just literally need to stop being brainwashed, turn around, and go in the right direction.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Make a world of difference. But everybody is caught in the gaze of the beast, and they're refusing to break that gaze. And you can only do so much. Like, I just know the world's prophesied direction of the end, and like you're not gonna flip that. That's why a lot of Christians believe, like, we need to take over the entire world with Christianity, and then Christ will come back. And these retarded things. The Bible doesn't even say that. It says exactly the opposite. A remnant will be saved. You need to make sure that you're part of the remnant.
100%. Yeah. Okay, Adam, that was a really good little rant, little piece. Let's just before we hop into the Queen of Canada, because that's going to be like the bulk of this convo. Let's just take a quick break with a message from our sponsor, Indaflow Kratom. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Have you heard that line before? Of course you have. It's not new. And neither is kratom. Kratom is found in Indonesia. It's the leaf of the kratom tree. It is ground up into powder, it is fermented, and it is consumed. And it is here for you to revolutionize your days and get in the flow. If you want more information, please visit us online at indaflow.fun. As you can see here, indaflow.fun. And if you pop your name in the comments section and say Indaflow, we will send you a promo code.
Absolutely. I can't say enough good things about this. It pretty much saved my life.
It did.
On many levels, because I was suffering from crazy anxiety attacks about 7 years ago. Then I found out about this. I didn't go on any pharmaceuticals. A lot of people end up on pharmaceuticals, but this could literally replace a lot of these antidepressant pharmaceutical crazy medication that, some of the side effects on these medications are like suicide, hearing voices, like all this crazy stuff. This 100% safe. And if you research it, you'll see that the pharmaceuticals, they pay people in like WebMD and all that to make it seem scary and everything. Really, it's I would say 99% safe. I think that if it...
You can barf, but we're not going to talk about that today because this is our sponsor and we don't want them to be like, why did we friggin' sponsor them? They're talking about barfing and whatnot. So anyways, thank you so much for Indaflow Kratom and their sponsorship. Back to our regular scheduled programming. So, the Queen of Canada. Adam, let us dive right into this. So, like I said in the intro, I did not know about this Queen of Canada. Adam had heard about it. I just saw it come up on like my Mozilla thing when I was going onto the internet. I was like, Queen of Canada arrested. What the ding dong dang? I said to Adam, have you heard of this Queen of Canada? And he's like, oh yeah, I think I have. And I was like, oh, she got arrested. And so we kind of like explored a little bit into her story. And yeah, like Adam says, red flags all over the place. So do we want to just give a couple little bloop, bleep, bloop, blops, and then kind of pick it apart?
Yeah, and we'll post the link to a Vice video that we have on this.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's quite interesting. I'll comment some stuff on the Vice as well, too, because like Vice is just propaganda as well. It's
yes.
It's not like
but the editing on that video is really good. So
it shows the important things about what this lady is doing.
And it's like creatively edited. So like that's I like that.
And like I remember maybe about a year or so ago hearing about the Queen of Canada, and first I'm like, because I always I don't just throw everything away, and I think about like, oh, could this possibly be true? I heard a few things. I'm like, thought maybe it was some indigenous lady and she had some hereditary roots in that she was like the true royal bloodline of the indigenous people, and but it wasn't anything like that. I think she was like an immigrant from the Philippines.
She is an immigrant from the Philippines, and she immigrated here when she was a child. And so she says that she was homeless for a good long while, and then she ended up working at McDonald's flipping burgers, and then she realized that McDonald's burgers have humans in them. So she quit. Right?
Is that true? That's what she says?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so this is the thing that is interesting about her, is that a lot of what she says and a lot of what she does is true. And a lot of it answers questions that people have. So she ended up gaining a lot of traction in 2022, I think, when obviously we're in the midst of this freaking global pandemic, and Canada was crazy. We had lockdowns, and in 2022, things were still pretty insane here in Canada. And so she started pumping her Telegram group pretty hard with doing live streams, and she was like involved in the QAnon side of things. So she was probably like on the receiving end of those QAnon drops, and then she's probably just kind of like filtering them through her own processes and then spitting it back out for all of her followers, which is not bad, right? Like, I mean, this is what you want to do if you're getting information and the information resonates, you want to keep sharing it. And so she provided quite a net for folks who were asking questions about like whether or not the mRNA vaccines were safe, whether or not it's true that there's like an elite Kabbalistic pedophilic force of psychos running the world, and whether or not we should turn away from them. She was also talking about things like friggin' the reality is that we all have free energy. Like, stop paying your frickin' bills. You know what I mean? Like, energy is free and the whole thing is a scam. And so a lot of this stuff is reality that anybody who is kind of like on the sovereign tip, or anybody is on the truther tip, has dug into, right? And so she was kind of like not just talk, but she was action oriented. And that was one of the major things that was appealing to her followers.
I feel that the application of that and what she's doing is not very wise.
No.
So we'll talk a little bit about that because, and some of it is just plain ridiculous, right? So I see people like this that come out, and same with the life force movement as a whole. There's a crazy lady that said that she was like the purest DNA in the world, and she's been chosen by the Galactic Federation, which is another thing that keeps coming up, to be the one ruler of the world, and she's been entrusted with the World Trust, and all the money is going to go to her. Everybody was lining up underneath worldwide followers because they thought they were going to receive money for their project to like reform society. It was just so crazy.
That.
When I heard all that, I'm like, this has all the signs, and these things happen because they're basing a lot of it on truth that we know, that we've uncovered in the sovereignty movement and the truth movement. But I believe that they're either just crazy and are capitalizing on it financially or for whatever crazy reasons that they are, or they're actually plants in there to make us all look crazy.
Yeah.
All the sovereign citizens and all that. And a lot of sovereign citizens didn't have the full knowledge, because you need the big picture. You need to know how to apply it and realize that even know that it's true, a lot of this stuff, when you go to apply it, these are criminal governments. They're probably not going to listen. If they don't have to, they're going to eat you alive. So this happened a lot in the sovereign citizen movement, and like even people trying to, drive drunk and say, I don't need to drive without a license and blah, blah, blah. And it just makes us look stupid because we know the truth, and then people like this lady comes out and does all this ridiculous stuff and makes us look retarded.
Yeah, because that was the thing. When I first saw this, the main question in my head is this a psyop, or is this a cult, or is this both? Yeah. And after kind of going through everything, I truly believe that it's both. Because at the end of the day, the woman has actual physical followers, so
that are fully dedicated to her, like she's the queen.
Yeah.
And like they sacrifice their money, their time, and she goes around like royalty, and they cook her food, clean up after, like it's
but I mean, they're
crazy.
not, okay, listen, they're not going around like royalty. So like the most recent situation, they were squatting in a abandoned schoolhouse in a place called Richmond, Saskatchewan. And this is where they were living. Like, the place did not have power. The place probably, was decaying in some way, shape, or form. You can look it up on the internet. Like, the windows are all boarded up and stuff. Like, this is not a vibe of royalty. You know what I'm saying? This is pure culty vibe all the way. But at the same time, what I found to be interesting, and I say kudos, is that they were exercising their squatters' rights. And I was like, this is cool. This is cool that they're doing this, because I've had this idea many times. I'm like, let's just freaking occupy this building. Let's just take it over, man. Let's just squat and like make it happen. But the trouble with this whole movement is that it was no bueno. And I don't know what they were doing. Obviously, I have no idea. But they were doing something that was causing the citizens of Richmond, Saskatchewan to be uncomfortable. And so somebody or maybe a group of people, formally filed a complaint and made a call, and the RCMP ended up raiding the school. And that was how this woman ended up getting yet another set of charges. So like, since this woman has been on her Queen of Canada campaign, which I don't know for how long, it just really began to get famous and her to get real traction like during the pandemic. But she's been arrested countless times, like at least 6 or 7 times this woman has been arrested, and then also, interestingly enough,
released with no charges.
Let off. So that is, again, what makes me think, like, okay, psyop, or does she or is she then like actually onto something? Because like Adam was talking about, what she's talking about and the things that she's doing are rooted in truth, but like Adam is saying, she's not executing, and like them as a whole, they're not executing it right. And the problem too is like, there seems to be a lot of hate. There seems to be a lot of anger. There seems to be a lot of like, I'm ready to shoot you in the head. And she said it. And like, these type of things don't bode well for, making real change, lasting change that is positive and good and
exactly.
exciting.
It's going to make people that like say anything about sovereignty. We're talking about sovereignty. They're going to draw the parallel, be like those crazy, violent people. They want to draw that parallel to label us all as violent, crazy people. Because like, that's what I'm saying. The wisdom and the strategy, like you just got to be a retard to go around saying these things and going up, trying to arrest the police and going up to Trudeau saying, it's over now. We've decided that, this is the Queen of Canada and your government is no longer in effect, right? And so it just makes us all look stupid because who gives her the right to be the Queen of Canada? She's just self-proclaiming and expecting everybody living in this land of Canada to, be subservient to her. Mm-hmm. It's really crazy that people would think that and not clue in and have all these warning bells going off, because the reality of it, if she's going and saying, your government has no legal authority, they're right. She's actually right that the government of Canada is only a corporation, and it's only that they put us in these contracts. We've talked about the birth certificate before. It's traded on the stock market. Like, all these things are rooted in the truth, but you got to realize it's like you going up to the cartel and saying, you know what, we're in charge here now. They're just going to shoot you or laugh at you or not listen, and that's what's happening is because they have the whole system that is a scam, that's fake, that doesn't actually have any authority. When they're going up to them and expecting them just to be, all right, you're right, okay, here, arrest me, take me to jail. It's like, no, they have the guns, and the officers, they don't believe that, even though it's true. They can make a citizen's arrest because they were going around trying to arrest them for the COVID measures. And in all reality, you could do that if you actually formed a real common law government, which isn't hard. You just need 12 people. You need a few things to establish, just like in trust law. You just need a few people to come together and agree on this, and that becomes a contract that is enforceable. So there are roots of truth in this that we could get together and arrest these people for what they're doing. But you got to think about, is there a plan? They just turned up and tried to say, you're under arrest, and like these people have guns and they don't understand any of that. Of course, they all got arrested instead. So it's like, you got to have a plan. If you're going to go do something like that, you need to, you need somewhere to take them. Do you have a secure facility? They're
going to bring them to the school.
Yeah. And, and if you do that type of thing, they'll just say, oh, it's kidnapping. So you need a lot more to do these things.
Yeah.
And there's even things that you could make citizens arrests of, let's say, not try to arrest the cops, but the people behind the cops. You could actually form the whole common law. Like if a common law judgment goes out, you can send the police notice and say, listen, we want you to help us arrest these people, but if you're not going to help us, stay out of our way. And then you can go and you can arrest these people if they've actually broken common law and have created harm towards people, such as in the things that have happened during 2020 and COVID. So these things are real, but the way they're trying to apply it and walking in like they're all prideful, like these people are actually going to listen to them. Like, it's stupidness.
Yeah, it is stupid, and it's not the path of peace.
No.
And the reality is that when you make the decision to uncontract from the government and you make the decision to walk the other way and be sovereign, it's really important that you walk the path of peace. Otherwise, you are going to disturb the peace. And when you start doing stuff like that, it's never going to turn out in your favor. So something that I was just thinking in all of this is like, sure, like you can do all these things, like you said, like what Adam was explaining, and that's like a better way to go about it. But I truly believe that the way to go about it is to just turn away from the system, stop participating with it in every way, stop giving it power in every way, and just live your life in peace in a parallel way. Over there, just like free from it. It has no jurisdiction, no power, but you're not poking the bear. You're not like actively, trying to even what?
Well, that's a great way to like wreck your whole movement. I've seen so many people. There was another guy that was
What's
rooted
a great way to wreck your movement? What I just said, or
poke the bear.
Oh yeah, poking the bear.
Yeah, so it's like going up and being like, you know what, your government is nothing, and now you're under arrest, Mr. Trudeau, and we're now the new government, and all these things. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he. It was the Republic of Canada was his whole thing, and it all made sense, and it was rooted in.
He got arrested too, right?
Yeah, I think he got arrested too because like he was behind the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So his common law efforts with the common law courts that he put together, they actually created a lot of change in the system and didn't fully bring people to accountability, but now they had to admit a lot of things and they had to do a lot of things. That's why now there's this Truth and Reconciliation Commissions and all these things and more money going to the Indigenous and stuff because he did it the proper way. But his whole thing of like now trying to set up this Republic of Canada for all of Canada and
his name was Kevin.
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, if we think of it, we'll mention it in the comments, or in the description. But anyway, Republic of Canada. It was a common law movement, and it was trying to take over everything of all of Canada and get people to join and even serve in the militia and all these things. And like it's not going to work because you're trying to replace the government over a very large land mass, right? But the truth is that even what this lady's doing, she has the right to assert her sovereignty and gather followers. Yep. They could contract to her, and she could have her own micronation.
That's what I was going to say. The micronation,
because no one needs to be. No one needs to be underneath someone else if they don't want to. But you have to abide by common law. That is, you can't be hurting people, murdering people, stealing people, and you got to act in honor, right? So, and a lot of these things are dishonorable the way she's doing.
Absolutely,
doing it,
it's absolutely dishonorable. And like the point of even kind of bringing this up is that it really, really, really sheds an ugly light on sovereignty and folks who are thinking for themselves. And it's super unfortunate. And this is getting a lot of airplay. And it's kind of disturbing, especially as somebody who walks a sovereign path and somebody who is like, well, man, I agree with a lot of this stuff. Like, I agree with what she's saying. But like the way she's doing it is terrible and scary and horrible. And I wish that she would stop. Stop. You're not the Queen of Canada. Please, I'm begging you. You're not helping us. You're not helping. You are causing more harm than good. Yeah. And you're also trampling all over the lives of human beings. Like if you're a queen and these are your subjects, like you are treating them unjustly. And I command you to stop in Jesus' name because he's the king. Yeah. Okay. So stop it, lady. Stop it.
Because like now Vice, they'll do a piece on that. And then of course they take every opportunity to say and like teaching them crazy, insane conspiracy theories, like saying you don't need to pay your utility bills or your mortgage or pay the traffic tickets.
And saying that COVID, the mRNA isn't safe. Hello? We all know it isn't safe. Like to say that it's safe to me also is like, that's just like insane disinformation. Like you should be jailed for saying that lie at this point in time. Absolutely. Because people are suffering. People are dying. People have major freaking health problems because they injected themselves with the mRNA. Like it's harmful. And to say it isn't is a bold-faced lie. Yeah. Bold-faced lie.
But things like, if we'll talk a little bit, because we know a little bit about like the utility bills, traffic tickets, and mortgages, people have been successful in that, and many times there's a group in America that this one guy was helped a lot of people basically get out of their mortgages, because the truth is that the banks, they're not loaning you money. They're basically creating credit off of your signature, loaning you your own money off of your birth certificate, because that's worth, they trade that on the stock market. It's worth millions. So when they do this, it's your signature, and people have broken it down. It's a complete scam. So there's legal ways to get out of that, because there's two ledgers, and when they loan money, and they just create one for you that you need to pay back at interest, crazy interest, and there's another that's the real account, and the money was never lent to you. It's your own. I can't explain it fully now, but it's a complete scam, the whole mortgage thing, and people have gotten out of it and have saved their homes. But it is very difficult, because in a lot of all these things, a lot of people have gotten out of traffic tickets, and utility bills are a lot harder. But traffic tickets, a lot of people have gotten out of that just by not contracting with the officer and signing things on their traffic tickets, and there's a lot of things that actually work. But the problem is that these are corrupt criminals, and when people start knowing the truth, they tweak the system and make it harder. So I wouldn't advise people to just stop paying your mortgage or utility bills unless you're willing to go all the way and have the knowledge. And I believe people just need to get together and collaborate more to figure out how they're tweaking it and how to do all these things. Because we didn't pay our utility bill for hydro for
2 years.
2 years. And normally they cut it off after 3 months. So through our efforts and everything, we delayed it for almost 2 years.
And to be honest, I truly believe that we could have been more successful with this, and we're going to pick it back up. We're going to do it again. I'm not done.
Yeah.
Because everything is learning, and the only way to truly learn is to action what the head knowledge you've got is. You got to put it into practice. I believe that we misstepped. It was me. I misstepped. I'm not going to explain it on this thing, but I did a misstep, and in that misstep, it opened up a whole can of worms. And that's okay. I learned so much. And even though there was that misstep, and the whole thing with the hydro bill didn't go over as according to plan, but what does go according to plan perfectly ever? Anyways, nothing. Yeah. On the flip side of that is, with the traffic tickets that I got, so far at this point, it seems like I'm coming out on top of that situation. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you can go back into the Creative Revolution broadcast in the podcast section here on YouTube, or it's also in Spotify or on our website, where I talk. It's called the Traveling Flowcast, and I share in detail my experience of being a sovereign woman traveling down the frickin' highway and finally getting pulled over. And it was an experience. I learned so much. And it's far from over. I've got plans for this next spring, summer, because I've got this cool little frigging convertible that is the Freedom Mobile. But I'm not going to poke the bear. Because again, that was one of the things that part of me, I got really riled up, and I was just I friggin' poked the bear. Okay. And it never works. It never works. I wasn't even poking it too hard. I was just kind of But yeah, when you poke the bear, it responds.
And it's so funny when you win against the cops and they can't pin these traffic tickets on anybody. They get so angry. They went to a very far length to harass these beautiful old couple that we bought the car from, and they called us criminal masterminds. They say, you need to go do this because these are criminal masterminds, because they couldn't pin the tickets that they wrote on anybody, and they were sending just these big long things that didn't have anybody's name on it and everything, because there was no contract that existed.
Honestly, the whole thing is very interesting, and I'm gonna obviously do a 2.0 because things have happened, time has passed, but it's very interesting, and I personally am going to continue to walking the sovereign path, continue to learn, and continue to put what I'm learning in my head into practice with my physical being, because that's the only way to really know. And the core essence of everything is: do not step out into this unless you are prepared to go the full mile. That's just it. Like the only reason why we're doing these two specific things with the Hydro Bill and the traveling stuff is because I feel confident and I'm not afraid. And I know that I can handle myself in this entire situation in a grounded way, in a way that is on the path of peace. And that's the only way. Like I wouldn't.
And the more
do it.
wins that we have
Yeah.
that are done in the path of peace, like it's wins for everybody. Because even there's a couple other cases that have come up in the courts where it was proven the core elements of the sovereign stuff. It was somewhere in the States. I can't even remember the situation, but it could use the set precedent.
Yeah,
So-
man. Yeah. And it's just so powerful also to take your power back. Like for me, that's one of the things is I'm like, no, man, like I am the one who has the power over my life. What I choose to do, it's friggin' mine. And I'm not contracting it out. I'm not parceling it out. I'm not giving it away. I know that Jesus is Lord. He rules, he reigns, and he is the only one who has the authority to tell me what to do. And it means it's a struggle to listen. I mean, but I'm trying my best.
And just remember that sovereignty starts here in the mind, in the heart, before you ever apply it out there, because the system's corrupt. It's absolutely corrupt, and it's a scam. And there's many ways to get at you and to get you. And it's not wise just to step out into all of them.
No. One thing at a time.
As long as you know in here and here, like you can get a much higher level of freedom.
Yeah, because you're vibrating at a higher frequency.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay, well, let's move on from the freaking Queen of Canada.
Queen of Canada, blah.
She is going to cease and desist hopefully soon. Okay, and we talked about that. Okay, did you want to quickly lead into a show and tell?
Well, go ahead. Show and tell what you really love to show and tell.
Okay, so this is what I want to show and tell today. Obviously, you can see we have a lot of cool stuff lined up on the bar today. But what I wanted to show is this. This is vintage from the 1970s, and it is a comic book style of the Bible, basically. So there are six little booklets. Adam, can you hold my microphone for me? Sure. Okay, so there are 6 little booklets, and it goes through the entire Bible. And so we've got the creation book. We've got the book on the promised land. We've got the book of Kings and Prophets, which is actually what I am reading right now in the physical Bible. So maybe I'm going to pull this out and use this as a secondary tool for my Bible study. Then we have a book on the captivity. We've got a book on Jesus. And then we've got a book on the church. Now, these are so fun. They are so beautifully illustrated by some artist. But the long story short is that this is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever read from start to finish because of the visual aspect. And I think that is something that the Bible lacks is pictures. So oftentimes when you're reading it, you're kind of having a hard time visualizing and putting yourself like in that historical time place, for example. And these books really help do that. And they do it in a way that is super easy to read because it's like comic book style. So it has little voice bubbles and like Jesus is saying something, and at the beginning when it's talking about creation or whatever, we've got like the voice coming from the sky, let there be light. So it's very cool. If you want me to do a series where I just like read all of them live on air, let me know in the comment section below.
All right. Well, that was great. Thank you for sharing and showing and telling.
My pleasure.
We're going to talk just briefly about the broken justice system because what we've noticed prophetically from reading the Bible in the Old Testament that, when the system gets so corrupted, when everybody's completely corrupted and morally on every level, that things are about to fall. So Jerusalem, right before the fall, the prophets were getting and saying, everything is basically reversed. They're saying that like your festivals and your celebrations and your sacrifices is this a stench in God's nostrils because you're being completely immoral and your justice is reversed. Mm-hmm. Is basically calling good bad and bad good. This is where we're at society now, that the justice system is protecting the criminals and putting more and more innocent people in jail for just breaking the rules that they come up with.
Yeah.
Right? I just saw a brief video about some pedophile that had, he was like swirling his image in the pictures online. I don't know the full reason of why he was doing it or whatever, but somebody mathematically reversed it and they caught him, and he had done some horrendous things, and he only got a few years, and everybody was saying, and now he's living in Canada.
No way.
Yeah, he's living in Canada. He's free. He's going about, and that's what everybody was saying. It's like, wow, it's like he did all these things to all these people, and he got basically a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, that if you break some of their rules, like they're wanting to put people in jail from 10 years to life for talking against their narrative.
Yeah.
This is the freedom of speech, one of the more recent bills, and even talking about the gospel, saying that certain things, if you say that there's sin, they can literally put you in jail from 10 years to life, but they're letting pedophiles get slaps on the wrist.
Not only
or
are they
go
letting
free.
pedophiles get slaps on the wrist, they're letting mass murderers also get slaps on the wrist. And I'm referring to a story that my sister-in-law, Laura, she sent me a video the other day. I don't know the names of the people involved. I don't even know the name of the guy, but all I know is that he is a transport truck driver, and
Here illegally.
Yeah, here illegally, and this situation took place, I think, in 2016 or 18 or something. It doesn't matter. Long story short, he was driving a transport truck, and he blew through a stop sign, and he smashed head-on collision into a hockey bus that was carrying a hockey team, and he ends up killing 15 of these young boys, hockey players. And so this is horrible, like totally horrible. And this guy as well only got something like 3 to 5 years in prison for manslaughter.
No, I don't think it wasn't even manslaughter. He didn't even get that, because that's what the
Okay.
families were pushing
Fighting for, yeah.
for manslaughter and getting a lot more time. This guy, I'm not even sure if he spent
I think he did. I think something like minimum 3 years.
very
situation.
minimal time, and he's out again being a menace to society. Like, he's not even legally supposed to be here. Like, why is he not deported?
Yeah, why is he not deported? But why is he not in trouble? Like,
Yeah,
why
in
is
jail?
Why is he not in jail?
Killed 15 people.
That is a lot of people to die. And like, just think about that recent shooting that took place in British Columbia, right? Where that guy shot up the school and killed like a bunch of young kids. Like, well, that shooter is getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Right? He's getting in trouble for doing that. But I think he was white. So I don't know what I'm really trying to say with this, but like the transport truck driver, he was a Punjabi.
Yeah, it's very twisted, because all these things fit their narrative and agendas, and you can see this. It's not about justice; it's about supporting their narratives. You know, so it's like even a lot of these situations where they're just allowing tons of immigrants in without screening. A lot of them are criminals, and they're going around in hordes and gangs and raping and killing
Pillaging.
people in the streets. And if you say anything against them,
You're a racist.
Yeah, you're in trouble. You get in trouble. So it's like there's this complete reversal,
Yeah.
all to support their agenda. You know, and there's so many agendas here, and we could go on and on. I could probably talk, for hours exposing all of the crazy injustice that's happening in the system now.
Yeah.
And people and then more rules getting put on us. Even just an example, like the new gun laws, they just took all these people have legally bought firearms, and they're hunters or collectors or whatever. They have licenses, they're abiding by all the rules, and it was something like thousands and thousands of guns. They just said like, well, now we're just making them illegal, and if you have them, you could get 10 years in prison. Like, that's just absolutely crazy for, just, and I could just go on and on.
Well, and
with
like red
examples
flag,
like
red
this.
flag, red flag. Like the minute your government wants to start taking away your guns, you need to ask yourself the next question is like, why? Why do they want to take these guns away? And no, the answer is not to keep the kids at school safe from freaking shooters. Like, that's not
No,
the
the
reason.
criminals always get guns. They get them illegally. The
They're
ones that are actually
criminals.
good.
They know how to get the guns on the black
They don't
markets
want
and like whatever.
citizens owning guns and defending themselves when they fully implement their crazy
Crackdown.
dictatorships.
Yeah, so that's totally nuts. Anything else? Do we want to just touch on UNDRIP or save that till next time?
Yeah, well, maybe we'll just mention it because, like, I think maybe if we wanted to talk about do more research, because I don't know a lot about UNDRIP. I just know it's a scam, and they're trying to basically give land back to the indigenous people, and in all these crazy ways, like basically the Supreme Court is giving away back like tons of land to the indigenous, and there's people that have like mortgages, and there's just tons of like
homes already,
people living on there. It's creating this completely crazy situation, and I think we should like maybe talk about it another time because I know it's a scam and that they're going to flip the script and they just basically want to control all the land.
Well, something that I think that this ties into is the whole agenda with the 2030 and with the own nothing and be happy thing. Yeah. And so the way I see the government and how they use indigenous folks and toy with their emotions and just also toy with us as a population is they use it as a weapon. They've weaponized the indigenous in the sense that they're going to utilize this as one of their mechanisms to further implement their agenda of own nothing and be happy because, like, honestly, even right now, I think what has ever happened in British Columbia is that something went through and officially, like, a very huge portion of British Columbia, Vancouver, whatever, has been allocated back to the Indigenous. And the thing is like such a huge portion of land. And like what are they going to do? Like, how many years, like, what are they going to do? How are they going to get rid of people on this land who are already living there? And then on the flip side of that is like, isn't that then the exact same thing that quote unquote the white man did to the indigenous man? And then does that make it right now? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this whole thing is just inverted and twisted and completely divisive because we all know that when the people are divided, they can't be united. And when the people are united, they can't be defeated. And so they are perpetuating this whole division between the indigenous people and the white people here in Canada. And it is very harmful for us as citizens who live on this land together. Like, we are all brothers and sisters. Like, this is the thing. We're all part of the human race, the one tribe of humanity. Like, this is the thing. And they just keep freaking pulling that divide further and further apart. And I feel like this is a really harmful tactic because it is not loving. It is not peaceful. It is not caring. It is wrong. And many people are going to get hurt because of it. And I think that if the indigenous don't play their cards right, like, I think they have an opportunity in all of this, but they're really going to have to act slowly, and they are really going to have to go inward into the heart, and they are really, like what Adam said at the beginning, they're going to have to reconcile. They're going to have to reconcile that hurt, you know, that is constantly propagated into them. It is propaganda that keeps them mad, thinking that, you know, the white man has done all this stuff, colonization, But no, like, we are living in the year 2026, allegedly, and things have changed, and you need to heal. We need to heal. We need to reconcile ourselves back to Creator in order to, like Adam said, then heal our families and then heal the concentric circles around us. Because if this goes the other way and they start basically kicking people out of their homes and like uprooting people's lives, like, that is wrong.
The government always has an agenda. Like, the indigenous people really need to comprehend that the government is the true enemy, not
enemy,
the white settlers, you know, and everybody needs to just not listen to them at all. Like, we need to turn our backs on them and stop listening because, yeah, they always have an agenda and they're going to turn this around and use it to divide people. Because even the bigger picture is that the land shouldn't belong to anybody.
No.
You know, and definitely the government is setting up there, just dictating what happens with all the land, the crown land and all these things. And they don't really, if you break down the history of Canada, the Corporation of Canada, they don't have any jurisdiction over the land. Their whole law is based on admiralty laws, the law of the sea. So, like, their whole thing is breaking down, and either there's a few reasons why they might be doing this, because it's true that, they don't have any authority, and a lot of the indigenous know that, and they're kind of winning. And so they're completely conjuring up this whole scam and scenario to mess everything up. Or they know that like it's over, and this is what's happening in the Middle East, the Third World War, that we're all going to be invaded and all the things are going to change. That's a possibility too. But also, the bigger picture is that there's people living on the land now where the indigenous, you can't just give the indigenous back everything that they quote unquote had or didn't have, because they're not living there now. And also they, there's nothing to say that, I'm trying to bring my thoughts together here about that. Basically, the land is God's land, and we need to share it.
Yeah,
that's the end of it. And like before they came and everything, it's not like they owned all the land. They used to fight amongst themselves, right? And from tribe to tribe. And
you can't own land. Like, let's just be real. Like,
You're
land
stewards of land.
Yeah, we are stewards of the land. Like, that's what we were put here to do. And the land is a living organism in and of itself that cannot be owned. Like, it is living, breathing just as much as we are. And so that's like trying to say that like I can own Adam, or that we can have ownership over another human being. Like, it's freaking ludicrous. And the reality is we need to like deconstruct our whole perception of that and just come into a relationship with the land in a loving way, and come into a relationship with those around us in a loving way. Like, I'm sick and tired of all this division. I'm sick and tired of us versus them. I'm sick and tired of all of it, because at the end of the day, our time here is short. Like, we are lucky if we get 80 years. And do we really want to spend those 80 years fighting, or in some sort of like space that is, not life-giving and making us sad? No, man, I don't want to do that, because like it happens enough during 365-day period.
Rage, fighting the system and like hitting them head on and all that. No, that's not the answer. The answer is to create reality with like-minded people, and that will change the world. It'll at least change your world, because you can't fight the beast head on, but you can, the power within that we have with the Creator through faith, through love, through all these things is much more powerful. That they only could do so much if we stop giving them our energy.
Amen.
And then we work with what we got. You work with the people, the localities of where you live, and that's it. You stop letting them dictate everything.
Yep. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode with a random Bible verse. We're just going to flip it open and see what it says. Keep watching and praying that you may not come into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Amen. With that in mind, keep yourself watchful, keep yourself in prayer, because your flesh, it's weak, man. Don't give in to that pizza tonight. Have a salad. God bless.
And we'll be back. I believe we've been promoting the Jesus 101, and it's almost ready. So
almost.
The next episode will be the Jesus 101.
Jesus 101.
Thank you.
Bye.